Welcome to the Past Life Regression Radio Show and Spirituality for Souls. I'm Jonathan Yorks, your host over the next 2 hours of this live call-in internet radio show based on the work I do in my private practice as a past life regression and life between lives regression therapist and spiritual counselor. We are streaming live here every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Go Network. And before I go on, a little shout out to the Go Network. Congratulations for launching the website, gonet.com. That's G-E-A-U-X net.com. Congrats to Dimitri, Kat, and Jay. That's very awesome. You can go directly there now by clicking to gonet.com. You can also get them at the TuneIn app and listen to the network. It's awesome. So anyway, we can also be found. So again, congratulations to the Go Network. It's awesome to be here. We can be found on Facebook Live, and we can also be found on other ways. You can go to my website, just so you know, jonathanyorks.com. mysoulmyself.com, and when you get to the opening page, just go to the bottom. You can find links to either the Facebook or the Go Network or the TuneIn app. You can also listen to this program on your phone at 641-552-8117. When you dial the number, you don't have to press any more numbers. You go directly into the show, and you can take us on the go. It's my little thing I say. Besides that, very happy to have you here with me this evening. Tonight's show, your creator self. So this is all about seeing our lives through the law of attraction, but seeing it through the science and spirituality of the law of attraction. And we're going to get that. We're going to get into that in our next segment. But in our first segment, just want to begin by going through whatever unfinished business or any kind of recap from last week. And as we do when we recap last week, it's to provide further insights. Of course, if you want to contact me on the show, you can catch me on Facebook Live, send me a message, or send me a text at 617-875-6686. And I'll be more than happy to get the text. And then during the break, I'll be able to take a look and see whatever questions you have regarding whatever we're talking about today. And that is, again, the creator self. And we spoke of that a little bit during the topic of the spirituality of the soul a few episodes back. We're going to get much more deeply into that. But before I go further on, of course, I just want to state that, of course, the purpose of this program is to help you see your life through your spiritual eyes and think through your spiritual mind as a soul. And that's what the identity of this show is all about. Again, we come with a bias that we are souls being human. And as such, the topics we speak of are in relation to that experience of ourselves. This kind of spiritual dimensional, but also human experience, creator experience, and what it means and the big oneness of it all. And in a few weeks, the first week in December, we're going to have a show about oneness. And I'm going to have a physicist friend of mine in, one who's worked in the profession. He understands and is much more intelligent about the quantum nature of life than I can ever be. One of those minds that are just adept at being able to see such things and understand and communicate it. I look forward to that person coming on the show. I will announce it in a little bit just to make certain we're going to clarify, make certain it's all going to work out. But that likely will be the first week of December, and we'll get much more into helping a person of physics knowledge help us understand what we mean when we talk about oneness and the first law of thermodynamics. And that is a bit of the relationship we're talking about this evening. But we're not going to go down that road yet. As far as the recap of last week's show, as far as what we did last week, it was about guides and guidance. And there were a couple of things I just want to clarify from last week's show. And as you know, I got to put on my glasses just so I can see my notes, and I apologize for people who are watching on Facebook if there's any glare. I want to mention something. I mentioned the word ego, and I've done that quite a few times. And I want to, just so we're clear about the idea of ego. To me, ego is a self-oriented experience. In other words, it's something that is capable of distinguishing it from otherness. And whenever the it is, the uniqueness of that distinction is qualitative always, because you cannot distinguish otherness unless there's a qualitative shift. If there's a qualitative shift, then that shift is subjective. That subjective shift must be, or at least as the word I use is, ego. So ego represents this kind of subjective nature of life. And there's many dimensions to ego. Like I mentioned, there's a spiritual ego that we have. Now, the spiritual ego is unlike the human ego because the spiritual ego is our energetic matrix. It is that energetic uniqueness, your unique vibrational pattern of being that makes up the entity that is you as a being of life, as a soul in your human life. And as that entity, you are not just made up of this energy, but this energy also represents the all of life consciousness depicted in your spiritual character as a soul. And so when we speak of that kind of idea of a spiritual ego, it is an understanding, yes, we are biased, but we're capable of seeing outside our nature as well. We are not subject to being encased within spiritual ego, because our spiritual ego, like our human ego, does expand. But human ego is different. Human ego refers directly to the brain itself, your neural self. And we've talked about the neural self some episodes back, and we're going to bring it back into tonight's program in relation to the creator being that you are, the creator self that you are in this very moment. And as we get further into that topic, we'll explain much more what that means. But I just want to kind of clarify, because I get there are people out there that have a really hard time. Some people say, well, ego is kind of very contextualized, Jonathan. And I'm having a hard time with the word ego, and I appreciate that. It's a word that is given just to describe something, but it does refer to this kind of qualitative distinction that we're able to differentiate our experience from otherness. Even in the guise of non-duality and oneness, there is that qualitative experience. Anything qualitative must be subjective, or you could not distinguish something from another. And in that way, that is the contextual ego, but there are different dimensions of what I would call ego in relation to what I call the big self of life, of course. And the idea that there is no self to life, well, I get that. I get that through other philosophies as well. In the deeper realm of its nature, I get that. But the idea of a no self can't be isolated. It has to be contextualized. At least in my understanding, until someone helps my knowing grow, that's where I sit in that one. I also talked about the holographic makeup and how it works within the spiritual dimension, now how our guides come into us. You know, if you think of life like your mind projects onto a screen, and the screen is energetic, it's fluidic, and as the mind projects onto the screen, it takes a formation. And that formation is like a holographic projection. It's a 3D field of a mind in a projective moment. Now, in the spiritual dimension, everything is projection. Everything comes from the form of mind. We project ourselves. We project the environment. The environment is a projected environment. Much the same way this environment, the human environment, 3D environment, is a projected environment. At least our experience of it. And we've had there'll be conversations, because there is a wonderful book called The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot, and it talks about this. And there have been many people in the sciencey world. Maybe my friend, when he comes on and on the first week of December, we'll ask him about the idea of a holographic universe. It's an intriguing concept. But the idea of our spiritual guides and how we are in relation to them, and even in the spiritual dimension, we are holographically projecting, and I get it. It's a concept that may not be fully grasped, but think of it like the mind projecting onto an actual 3D projector, and all happens is it starts to take a form, and that projection is the mind in that projected moment, reflecting the mind that is projecting. And that's another topic we're going to be introducing as further into today's work, into today's show. I spoke of guides, I spoke of their nature, I spoke of how they pair with us. Go back to the last show, you'll enjoy more. I'm not going to get much into that, but I did talk about one thing. I talked about when a client came back and they met their guide during a time of orientation. They met them in a garden. It was a beautiful place with a fountain and stone setting. And I say, we meet our guides in whatever environment is more reflection of our nature as a soul, our temperament as a soul, you could say, our character. And some souls, I said, I described going to a classroom, and I described this classroom like a table with 2 seats. No, that's more like a meeting room. A classroom is literally like a classroom, where sometimes it's like a giant auditorium, sometimes it's just a few, sometimes it is within a natural setting, sometimes it's more in kind of a typical classroom type setting. The one I described last week, go back, you'll hear it when you do. I described like this table in a room with 2 chairs. Those are the souls who They're serious. They're coming back to do work, and they're very. Their nature is to project such an experience after they come back from lifetimes. They're ready to go into analysis. They're ready to go into processing, and they're ready to go into planning. Those are souls that need a little more fun in their life. I love the story that I told last week. And this was about the pious nobleman and the compassionate child. And listen to that part. I just love that story. But more than that, I talked about our guides. And I described, an old man version of a guide and a young woman version. And I just want to be clear about something. There are many versions, of course. I've had guides be young men. I've had guides be old, wise women to clients. The version of guide that comes to us has to do with us, not with our guide. Our guide doesn't have to appear any which way it doesn't want to. It's not about that. They know us. They tune into us, and they know the imagery, the projection, where we're going to be able to move into identification with them. I spoke about that with my own guide named Orain, who came as this kind of little Buddha dude, and that kind of thing. And my association to that kind of acknowledgement of him and recognition of him as my guide. So that's what we do when guides come to us in that way. And then I talked about the next part of the program, and this is the part that really is going to lead into the next segment we do. And that's the part that has to do with our guides and how we interact with them. And I talked about ringing the doorbell. And I said, your thought, that projection, that's all you need to access your guide, is to just think of them. And when you do, you actually ring the doorbell. And we went through an exercise where you can project yourself into an environment and invite your guide in. And I tell you that when you do that exercise, when you sit and you create a holographic sensorial experience in your mind, a garden, a beach, a walk, it doesn't matter where you want to meet your guide. A classroom, a meeting room, it doesn't matter where you want to meet your guide. When you create that kind of holographic field in your mind, it becomes this medium where now you plug in and they can plug in and you can interact. Doesn't mean your guide's going to appear to you in the form that's going to be representative of them and every time you interact with your guide? No, of course not. Whatever form they come to you in is the form that is representative of that moment of that interaction. So when you're having that moment, write down a few questions for your guide. They're probably already inside you anyway. If you don't need to write them down, you can certainly just ask them in the moment. Allow the feedback to come through you. Get a sense of that exchange. And that's what I talked about when we did a little exercise last week. And we went a little more deeply into it. So if you really want to get into that part of the show where you do an exercise to connect with your guide, tune into the last part of last week's show. That was a lot of fun. And I told a story of a woman. I want to clarify something. This woman who was the bird aficionado, who loved birds. But her one favorite bird was a hummingbird. And I talked about how, the hummingbirds were becoming absent around her home, and now it was seasons were changing. Well, hummingbirds were coming back, and she hadn't seen any around her home, and she'd been troubled for a while, and she's sitting on her front steps, and she's thinking, and she had a thought of difference, and her troubles was around her family and how she was conflicted about how to address certain members of the family. And when she had a thought of kind of an enlightened thought, a thought of just how can I nurture the best from everybody from this moment? What can I do? And as she thought of that thought, a hummingbird flew up to her feeder. And it did its little feeding, and it stayed, and it kind of stopped and paused before it left, and it went off. And we took it as that was her guide, letting her know her guide was there. But I want to clarify something. When you get that enlightened thought, that moment of inspired thought, that is your guide. And so what I want to point out to you in that moment is that was her guide impressing upon her mind this inspired thought and affirming it with the hummingbird's presence. See, in that moment, that's how they communicate to us. It is through those moments of inspired thinking, the enlightened thought, the thought that goes beyond the oppositional and brings in the kind of unified relational understanding of life, an enlightened thought in that moment. So she received it. She got it. I just wanted to clarify that was her guide impressing upon her that enlightened thought. And the hummingbird was the acknowledgement of that thought. Then I talked about at the very end. We talked about how in life, guidance is all around us. Our thoughts and feelings are feedback to the system of the self. They are our guidance system. how the world around us is a reflection, our relationships around us, the job, it's all a reflecting of our choice making along the way. And if we are ever conflicted, feeling dissonance in any of these experiences, this is feedback to the system of ourself. This is self-guidance. It's innate in life to be guided. We're not meant to walk blindly through this maze, so to speak. It does come with all kinds of means to see what you're trying to tell yourself. One is the internal phenomena of thoughts and feelings. The other is the external phenomena of reflection from the projection of your choice-making through your lifetime. And that's what we really start to get into the creator self. What that means through that experience based on the relationship that you have with life as a being of life, not separate from it, generated by it. And I talked about dissonance. And I said that dissonance, don't see it as opposition. Understand it as guidance. Understand that if you are feeling dissonant, if you are feeling activated from some feeling of opposition, knowing that it is truly participation, that is guidance. Negative feelings, like I say, are suitcases, open them up, they're packaged with negative thoughts. So when you have that dissonance, it is not, if you want to see something change, like I said before, then you must change first. You must change your radiance first before you can ever see the reflection of that change around you. No matter whatever it's in relation to, no matter what emotional rationalization, no matter what position you have taken, where you refuse to acknowledge that and say, listen, I get it, I'm not doing that. That's fine, that's a choice, and that's totally cool. But it doesn't go away, and dissonance must be addressed within the psyche. So that is another form of guidance that we were speaking of, and that the brain is a medium. It helps us see this through the thoughts and feelings that are emitted from it. And as we are able to better be in relation to it, distinguish us from the communication of the neural self, well, then you can tap into the guidance. You can walk through life and ignore all that, but it's not going to stop it from going on. And like I said, as I always say, always know who's driving the car. And that's what we're going to talk about this evening. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, one more thing I want to mention. When I am connecting with God, when you are connecting with God, anytime you have a moment of connection, you think, was that my guide? I have the law of three. First time it happens, I think it is so. Second time it happens, I believe it is so. Third time it happens to me, I know it is so. And that's what it takes, the law of three. So as you're doing this with your guide, as you're tapping in, as you're looking for the signs around you, the moments that may reflect that back to you, there's the law of three, at least that's my law. My law of three, knock 3 times, 3, all that. The number 3 to me is one of those symbolic power numbers of the universe. Probably to me the most stable form of the universe and all that sort of stuff. And maybe one day, like I said, we'll have somebody who can speak more intelligently to the idea of numbers and numerology. I always get a kick out of numerology. Like the number 1111. As my little boy was developing in the womb, everywhere my wife and I would look, we'd see 1111. And I get those are power numbers. It's like a spiritual, like the ringing of the doorbell for me in that moment. It's like, something is being sent to me. 1111. It was like an assurance, a reassurance. All is good. Everything's good. You are on the karmic path. Everything is in the blending of the moment. So, we'll get somebody in here. I'm sure everybody has seen numbers. We all have. And feel free to share what number you have seen. I'd be curious about it. What else can I speak of that I didn't speak of before we leave this part of the show? That's really it. That's really it as far as the recap, further insights, clarifications, and really no unfinished business from last week's show. The one thing is, as far as chatting, somebody said that they could not get through to the chat. You have to be on the Facebook Live channel, watching it, and then you have to click on the chat symbol that allows you to type in and chat with us. So I don't know if that was clear. Hopefully it's not that complicated. I'm only so techie when it comes to those sort of things. All right. It is now about 20 minutes into our program. We are going to take a little break, but before we do, I want to remind you that any time that you want to, you can come back and watch the show on Facebook. I've downloaded, huzzah, I had a little talk with my assistant, which is me. And if you listen to last week's show, I said, I'm going to fire my assistant because he's not doing his work. Well, that assistant is me. I can't fire me. But I have downloaded the first 3 episodes on YouTube. The next 3 episodes will be downloaded within the next week. I will send out a notice when I have done that. The way you can get notified on YouTube, I believe, is if you follow or like the YouTube channel. That's very, very, very helpful because then it generates more activity and generates more interest, more curiosity, and it's very helpful for the movement or the evolution or the participation. Because in this program, it's not only about helping you see your life through your spiritual eyes. As I've said before in other programs, to me, this is the spiritual spa. This is where we can come 1 day a week between 7 and 9, where the world around us is having us operate through the human ego experience, through the neural self and the conditions of likes and dislikes and fears and faiths and loves and hates, where we can come back in and dip into this kind of dialogue. That, no, man, I get it. I am a soul being human. I am in this human lifetime. As a matter of fact, as I've disclosed in I believe last show, I see myself as being a soul in Jonathan's life, not just as a cognitive phenomena, but right there in the chest area as I tap it, right in the chest. It's a feeling for me. And I thought about that before we move on. I want to tell you something. I thought about that. And I thought, have I done something neurologically to this brain? With all the information I've studied, with all the knowledge I gained about this topic, and then going through the experience of past life regressions and a life between lives regression, did I neurologically flip another switch in this brain where now I am under the programming, the delusional context that I am a soul being human? Because face it, the brain's going to go where my thoughts are going to take it, where I bring the experience into it. Eventually, it's going to hit a point of critical mass. In that moment, critical mass, it's going to hit a point of percentages where the neural experience is going to alter. It's going to change into a different form, a different mind. They've done much of that, of course, in brain science. They can see that. When people injure their brains, how their personality changes. I'm just wondering, did I do something like that? Have I just programmed this neural experience? And if it was just about the brain with nothing else, I'd say, yep, absolutely. But then I look at life around me. I look at what we know, and we're going to talk a lot about this, and we already have, the quantum nature of life. The fact that we get these stories of near-death experience, out-of-body experience, past life regression and life between lives regression, memory recall phenomena, paranormal phenomena, the evolution of belief systems, everything, how it all weaves into the big tapestry of knowing. So I thought about that. Did I create that neural context that I'm just sitting here playing my neural self right now without anything else attached to it? Yep. I would think I was, but when I see all the other pieces of information, all the other threads that weave into the tapestry of knowing, I look at it as probability. Like I say, everything I know is an educated guess. But I really looked into it. It's a heck of an education and a pretty good guess. So in the next part of the program, we're going to be talking about the creator self. You as a creator self, how it all works, what you do, and how you can best bring it into your life. This is the Past Life Regression Radio Show. I'm Jonathan Yorks. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Thank you.
If you're just hearing about Monk Therapeutic Air for the first time, it's a recyclable diffuser that promotes mood change and life-enhancing effects through our custom blends of essential oils and the ancient practice of aromatherapy. Monk is the simplest aromatherapy device in history. You don't have to know anything about essential oils. We do all that for you. Simply pick the way you want to feel, open your Monk, and breathe in as your Monk diffuses an eclectic blend of essential oils and wild plant extracts. Monk is available in 7 different blends, all of which are organic, natural, and free of nicotine, tobacco, or artificial chemicals. Visit monq.com to learn more.
So who are the real original housewives? Well, Sarah, Esther, Mary, and Ruth. Proclaim this and other Bible references on a shirt at onebodyonespirit.com. One Body, One Spirit is a Christian-themed clothing store for ladies and men that allows believers to express their faith, glorify God, and start conversations through something as simple as a t-shirt. Plus, a portion of every purchase is donated to charities. Their website is spirit.com to view their clothing selections. onebodyonespirit.com.
Aren't you tired of your plain white walls? Do you ever wonder why you feel uninspired at the office or feel like your home lacks character? It's always the same boring walls over and over again. Well, it's time for a change. Visit walldecor3d.com and order wall panels that will turn your walls into beautiful and extravagant looking accent walls. The 3D wall panels give an extra dimension and complement just about any room. Their current selection includes plant fiber wall paneling, MDF wood wall panels, mosaic real wood paneling, and thin slate stone veneer. Remember, that's walldecor3d.com. Order now and add some depth to your life. Have you always wanted to make your own podcast? Or had dreams of becoming the next social media influencer? Don't let office space and equipment be what gets between you and your dreams. New studio space is now available through the Go Network. The Go Network is a multimedia broadcast company that currently hosts live radio shows and podcasts. With microphones to fit all guests, the ability to video record interviews, a stage for band performances, and an editing suite to put your audio and video content to the next level. The Go Network will provide assistance with producing, editing, sponsorship outreach, marketing, and more. You can create the podcast or web series you want with the lower price tag. Visit our studio location in Norwood or our audio suite in Canton. For more information, call us at 857-445-0424 or email us at info@gonet.com. That's info@geauxnet.com.
Are you in need of stickers, be it for personal or business use? Then you need to go to stickeryou.com right now. That's stickeryou.com. Sticker U is passionate about providing you and your business with the highest quality custom stickers, labels, decals, and iron-ons. They can even make you temporary tattoos. If you want to stick out from the competition, then you need Sticker U, as Sticker U provides the best platform in the world to create custom products that make you stick.
Has your computer seen better days? Is it always freezing and lagging? Are you constantly plagued with pop-ups and viruses? Are you not able to get any work done? You don't need a new computer. You need Phoenix Technology Support. With just one call to Phoenix Technology Support, you will never have to stress over the hassles of taking your computer to a repair shop again. Just leave your computer right where it is and let us come directly to you. Phoenix Technology Support has over 10 years of experience in the industry of customer support and IT solutions, and it's the best place for help with all of your home or business electronics. From gaming systems to tablet setups, smartphones to smart TVs, even business servers and emails. We will help set up or troubleshoot almost any technology in your home or office. So next time you think your technology is at the end of its life, have it rise from the ashes like a phoenix by calling Phoenix Technology Support at 617-658-3240. That's 617-658-3240, or go to www.phoenixtechboston.com.
When I'm feeling sluggish, I'm not looking for the jittery feeling of coffee. I'm reaching for Neurosonic, the only energy drink I trust to keep me going. Neurosonic is just one of the great drinks in the neurofunctioning beverages line. When I'm stressing an interview, Neuro Bliss keeps me cool, calm, and collected. And when it's time to call it a night, I don't want sleeping pills and all the crazy after effects you hear about. I want Neuro Sleep to help me drift off to dreamland. Neuro drinks are surprisingly low calorie and full of the healthiest and most efficacious vitamins and minerals. Artificial flavors and colors don't work for them, and neither should they for you, so they don't allow them in their drinks. To find a store near you that carries Neuro, go to drinkneuro.com or visit amazon.com to order a 12-pack. Neuro, drink with a purpose.
I'm Jonathan Yorks, and you're listening to the Past Life Regression Radio Show. Welcome back to the Past Life Regression Radio Show and Spirituality for Souls. We are in our main part of our show today. We're talking about your creator self. I just want to say hello to some of the people who have messaged me today. Hello, Diane. Hello, Amy and Eleanor. Amy, I just saw something there. What's with the frowny face, Amy? Now, I know Amy. Amy has known me all my life. Amy's one of my biggest fans. So I'm giving you a little tease here, Amy, on my show program. You got a frowny face going on. If you do, let me know what your frowny face is about. But besides that, I know I'm just being playful, of course. Again, this part of the program is all about the creator self. Now, I mentioned the creator self in a prior program around the spirituality of the soul. And I talk about our creator self as being the part of us that is the aspects of consciousness and energy. And so in relation to that, what we do is we start to acknowledge our what it is that constitutes our being. Because the first question is, what is this idea of this kind of law of attraction thing? You know, you've heard about it before. And I talk about the creator self as a deeper understanding of this idea of the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction is quite simply thoughts are things. And when you imagine thoughts, when you put thoughts out there, that it actually interacts with the universe and it actually brings things back to you, because thoughts are electromagnetic projections. You actually radiate a thought into the field of this giant electromagnetic field. And whatever it is in the nature of thoughts and bringing things, it has been demonstrated that thoughts are actually projecting electromagnetically into the field of life itself. They know that. So the idea behind the law of attraction is thoughts create things. And you could say where your thoughts go, the energy flows. And this is the idea behind the creator self. Because the creator self takes into some fundamental considerations of knowledge we already do have. You know, in the part of what I like to emphasize is that we cannot be separate from that which generates our existence. Now that's a big statement. And I really want you to take a pause and listen to that. We cannot be separate from that which generates our existence. And when my physicist friend comes a few weeks from now, we'll talk a little about that as well, because it certainly feeds into the topic of oneness. So again, the way I like to emphasize this point is if I take your cells and break them down to molecules, your molecules to atoms, your atoms to subatomic particles, these are the constituents that make up these bodies we are in. And I keep on breaking them down. What am I? What is my purest, most essence of form? And I'm nothing but a collection of wave patterns within an infinite field of wave patterns. And what congeals my collection of wave patterns, as best as we can understand it, is consciousness. And we know somewhat how it works through certain experiments in quantum science around things like the double slit experiment. I'm not going to talk about that today because I want someone who has more knowledge to be able to speak more intelligently about it. I'll ask the questions, we'll clarify the point. But basically, when you're not measuring a photon being emitted through two slits in a board, it behaves on the screen like a wave pattern. When you are measuring it, it behaves like a particle. It seems to collapse upon measurement. We'll get much more deeply about what it means, what we call the observer principle of life, that nothing can come to form without something generating the capacity for that form to actually emit in itself. Now, there's many discussions around quantum science about quantum cohesion and the collapsing of a quantum field, and we'll talk about that. I don't want to get too far into it, but the idea is this: at our very essence, it is undeniable that I am not separate from the life that generates my existence, that generates my body, that generates my being. I cannot be separate from it. Thus, what I am is I am generated by it, and what I do is I am personalizing it through my personal collection of wave patterns, my uniqueness. And as I do, and as it goes through my field of being, my personalized energy sphere, within the infinite energy field of life, I am now then radiating it back out. It is an interactive field, 24/7, like I have in the promo there. It is never off. You are always radiating your consciousness into the field of life. And the field of life is unbiased. It's not going to say you can have, you can't have. It doesn't work that way. It's just purely a response system. It only reflects back to you that which you project into it. And there are many forms of this reflection. And this reflection comes through to you in many ways. The idea is, can you see it? And when you do, what do you do with it? But the relation to the creator self, the idea of a creator self in relation to that I'm not separate from this energetic field, the quantum nature of life, and let's just call it that. Let's call it our quantum nature. I call it the creator self, but it is the essence of your being. It's the essence of what you are. You are a creator being. You are 24/7 in relation to the field of energy around you and the others who are energetic beings around you. I've witnessed too much as I've worked within this context. People, drawing from people based on their energy, the best or the worst of possibilities from them. People who are moving through life and dealing with conflicts, their temperament, how it has an absolute relevance in relation to the outcomes they experience in life. So the idea is this. The first thing you must be aware of as a creator self is that you are not separate from life. And that's the science and spirituality of it. Because not only are you not separate from it, you are a being of consciousness energy. You are constantly radiating your thoughts, feelings, and imagery into the field of life. And as you do, as you radiate that through the human life form, this idea of thoughts, feelings, and images, you interact with it. You can do it consciously or unconsciously. And if you're doing it without addressing neural conditions, well then yeah, you're gonna see the reflections of everything that is neurally wired into your brain. That comes out to be the reflections of whatever it is that you're moving in far as your energy in life. And this is what we're talking about when we talk about the creator self. We're talking about the energetic self. The being of consciousness energy, that field of experience in which you are, that is being transmitted through the brain in which you operate through. Now, of course, there's other aspects of this, like I've talked about the divine self and the one self, and this isn't the topic, this is the part of the topic for today, but they're always a part of the field of being. But as you're in the moment you are in now, you have the capacity to move your life in the direction in which you seek to find yourself in. You can move your relationships along. You can move your life along. You are never stuck. Absolutely not. You have the capacity to actually generate consciously the experience around you. And I want you now to take this kind of thought into mind. Forget about your cellular being. Forget about your human material self. I want you to envision in your mind that you are nothing but an orb of light. And I've mentioned this before. With rays of light coming out all throughout you. And these rays of light are emanating from all around you, 360 degrees from your orbic presence in life itself. And within this 360 degrees of radiance of your being is you in your holographic projecting of yourself down every potential path you can create. Because as a creator being, you can only create based on your personal sphere of possibility. So I want you to see yourself in this moment as not just a material being, but as a personal sphere of possibility, as an energetic being, with all your uniqueness, all your conditions, all your karma, all your intelligence, all your aptitudes, everything around you, all your conflicts, all your joys, everything. Everything that contextualizes your uniqueness and distinguishes you from every other uniqueness out there, for we all are unique. And I like to tell the story when I say this of a young client who had expressed to me or to another person about that an adolescent client that they didn't feel special in life, and the communication to that person is, of course not. There's nothing special about us. What we hear about is the people who take their uniqueness and make it special. We are all unique. But what we hear about are the ones who are unique and they make it special. And so the question always I have to you as a creator self, how are you going to make your uniqueness special? How are you choosing to make your uniqueness special? Because as creator beings, that's how we collapse the field of creation around us through choice. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But right now, I just want you to have just kind of imagine this kind of orbic presence of your being, this field of radiance. Right now, not as your material self, feel this energetic environment of your being. Feel the flow and movement of energy. You may feel like blood moving through you. It may feel like your breath moving through you. It's all energy. And as you do, get a sense of this idea of radiance, these rays of being, these rays of your light, 360 degrees all around you, your personal sphere of possibility radiating into the field of life, holographic projections of every possible being you can create as the one that you are. And in that, you can imagine the worst of the experience and the best of the experience, of course. And as you do, I tell my clients, the one thing you must realize as a creative being, that if you can imagine the worst of your outcomes, then they cannot occur unless the best of your outcomes are equally available to you. See, as a creative being, you know I can't have it one way unless the other way equally exists. And what makes it possible to bring anything within my personal sphere of possibility into probability is my attention. That's simple, and that's all it is. Just your attention. You give attention to the negativistic, to the fatalistic, to the catastrophic, to what won't happen, what won't occur, what they won't do, how it won't happen, how bad or anything else that comes to your mind in a negativistic way. Guess what? You're attracting those experiences to you, those energetic forms in the field around you can only reflect your experience of what you are projecting into it. And you're not allowed to do it unconsciously as a creator being. So if you find your mind flowing to a negativistic possibility, as you look throughout the field of your entire holographic possibility, and you say, Jonathan, I'm in this moment now, but I want to be in a different moment. And I say, what does that look like? You say, this is really what inspires me. Hypothetically, Jonathan, I want to be on a stage talking to people about the things I love to talk about. Wonderful. Let's touch that actual path, that holographic radiance that is around you. And when we touch a possibility that is emanating throughout us, we collapse it as a field of probability. We wear it like another skin in which we radiate through. And within that choice we make to pursue that possibility within our being is 360 degrees of radiant outcome, from the worst and most negativistic outcome to the best and the bright white light outcome. See, in this idea of energy, and energy as an infinite field of possibility, unique within your field of possibility, within your frequency that is you, your energetic matrix and spiritual character, so to speak, within that infinite field of your possibility, the moment you make that choice, you collapse a probable moment, a probable persona, a probable outcome, a probable effect. You thump into the field of life and you send a ripple wave out into it, an attractive wave. Because as we know, waves go out, they hit the edges, and they come back in, so to speak. Whatever we bring out to us will come back into us. It's the wave patterns of nature. And in that way, when you understand how you are radiating into the field, when you understand how to redirect this radiance of your mind within the field of life, and when you do it consciously, not unconsciously, consciously, now you are taking the power of yours that is innate in life anyway. Because I like to tell people, you are creating your future right now, unconsciously. You are radiating your subconscious mind into the field of life. And what it is as you're doing it unconsciously, the field of life is congealing probability waves of energy to eventually, as they gather, to become so dense that they actually collapse, become the circumstances that will reflect back the radiance in which you had been projecting all along, yet unconsciously. These events are now things we have to deal with. Either you react to life or you make life respond to you. I'm a big fan. I'd much rather have it respond to me than me react to it. And as I look through this lens, as I acknowledge this part of myself, this part of life, how it operates, based on the recognition, man, that I cannot be not made up of this stuff. And if I am, and I am generated by it, I am interactive with it. And we have enough knowledge out there to start to go a little metaphysical on it, metaphysiological and meta-psychological on this a little bit, and start to make certain assumptions. Assumptions that science hasn't caught up with yet, but they're on their way. Just like how neuroimaging can now demonstrate that the brain in a past life regression actually lights up the parts when we are recalling memory with a one specific part associated with spiritual experience that is not another kinds of imaging. How cool is that? We didn't know that before. Science hadn't caught up to that possibility. Science is going to catch up to this kind of realizations. So when we looking through the idea of us as creators, know that right now you are creating your future. And you're doing it unconsciously. The thing is to do it consciously. And like I wrote in the promo, that's the key. We are always radiating into the field. I must do it consciously. I am creating my future right now. That's why they say be here now. The reason why you want to be here now, because you're creating your future right now. And this very moment, radiating through you any choice you have made to be or not be, to whatever, however that is going to further be emphasized as I say this right now, any choice you've made is being radiated through your experience of what it is, either positivistically or negativistically, and you are drawing to you the potential of that experience. As a creator, now don't get me wrong, there is a superseding force here. I call it the divine effect, and that's within the divine self, the intention. The spiritual intention is always greater than the creative force, because that's the intention to grow. And as you create, if you are redirected, if you're going forward to something, you find something has been an impasse. I can't get beyond this. It's actually taking me and redirecting me. What I tell people is this: your purpose didn't change. Only where you place your purpose changes. That's okay. That's no problem. If you're a creator who's trying to become the head of something, a president of the United States, whatever else, and faces somebody else to lose, and somebody had the same creative intention to see themselves in that Oval Office, well, that person's purpose did not change. Just where they place their purpose changes. So don't forget that as you create, as you're putting yourself out there in your radiant self through the uniqueness that you can create and the choice that you are going to make and the path that you want to take. Boy, I didn't mean to sound so rhymey, but that's what it sounds like. Because you choose the path. You know, there's a bottom line to the creative experience of your being, and I've said this over and over in other programs. You must be authentic to who you are, and you must act in genuine accordance with what you know, so that your knowing can grow, and when your knowing grows, it's going to grow again into new knowing, and on and on and on. But as you do that, create. Interact with the field that you're already interacting with already, through the pulsations, through the medium of the human life form that you are within. And the brain, which is the medium of this transmission, through thoughts, images, and feelings. That's how we interact with this, with the quantum nature of life. And as we do, it starts to respond. So when you wake up in the morning and you're going to go to work or go wherever you're going to go, if you have a dissonant feeling in your being and you are moving through the day, not even wanting to be someplace, not wanting to go somewhere, you can bet that you are attracting forces to you that are going to respond unbiased to help you not be there, for whatever it may be. Getting fired, getting on an illness. I've heard all the stories, actually, along the spectrum of how people bring negativistic experience into their life through a dissonant thought and a dissonant feeling that is unattended in their being. So the idea behind your creator self is this. It is going on right now. You are creating right now. And all you need to do is understand that as this is the most essential part of your experience of being here, one of the 4 dimensions of the experience you are within, you are a creator. And so as this spherical being of pure energy and consciousness, with radiance of light going out from every which way throughout you, and a choice you are seeking to make. In that moment, you are within the possibility of every aspect of that choice. And all you need to do is choose the one that brings the most radiant outcome for you, for others as well, that draws the best of life, the harmony, the elevation of the vibrations of life and being within you and around you. That's the only way we can best choose. That's the only way that within the like attracts like experience of energy. That's the only way we can draw the creator environment, the reflections of our projections to us. So as you're making this choice, be it a relationship, be it a job, be it a house, be it any aspect, be it a fear of success, well, you have to understand the guidance system. But before you understand that, you have to know that you are a creator. You are a creator within this field of life, not separate from it, interactive 24/7 with it, radiating through your unconscious self. And I like to give this as an example of how you are not consciously aware of your radiance. I call it the 1090 rule of conscious awareness. Now, understand, there's always that myth that, you only use 10% of your brain, which is absolutely false. You don't use just 10% of your brain. Your brain is always, all features are active, although there are areas that may be more lying in dormancy, that are not fully functioning or fully enlightened or fully activated, I'll say, in that sense. That I don't deny as far as the brain. We don't know everything about the brain, and we don't know what happens when you start to give some more stimulation to other parts and other areas. We are just discovering so many features to this medium of the brain, that the medium of the brain. And so, as I'm reflecting on this, and I talk about the creator self and this medium of the brain, and the idea of how the thoughts and feelings that are operating through us, how we are not separate from the life, and how we must be aware of what's going on. I talk about the 1090 rule of conscious awareness, and I give this as an example. See, anytime you are focused through your eyes on an object in front of you, your eyes can only take in 16 degrees of focal attention. That's it. Your attention can only take in 16 degrees of focal information as far as having your conscious attention, visually speaking. But your eyes take over just about 180 degrees of visual field of visual information that is impressing itself upon your brain without you giving it attention. In that way, you can only be visually attending to less than 10% that is within your visual field. Now let's take in the totality of your sensorium, your ears, your skin, your tongue, your nose, the smells, everything around you is operating as a total 360-degree field of sensorium that you're not even giving attention to. You can only be attending to only less than 10% of what's going on within you and around you. The other 90+%, that's creating the 10%. Those are the conditions. That's when I talked about the neural self. Go back into some past episodes. There was a couple very specifically about that. One around the spirituality of the soul, especially I talked about the neural self. We'll get more deeply one day into the neural self, and we're going to touch upon it today as a form of helping you better in your creator self. But today, this is about the creator self itself. So in the idea that you can only be consciously aware of less than 10% of what's going through your mind in any moment, and if you're not attending to your mind, then you are on automatic pilot, letting the subconscious of your mind drive the car. And again, you'll hear it. Likes and dislikes, fears and faiths, loves and hates, negativistic thoughts, defense mechanisms. Welcome to the neural self. And when you're not attending to it and you allow negativistic thoughts that give you the emotional right to diminish another, emotional rationalization, minimization, diminish of others, or self, denial and doubt, these defense mechanisms, if you're not aware of what's going on, then that's driving your car, and that's what's being created for you. So when you are aware that you can interact with this field consciously, that you can every day wake up and start to set the interactive patterns so that in that moment you can set up a subconscious relationship to the radiant field of your mind, to the creative field all around you. And as a creator self, That is something you're doing every day, 24/7. I'll give this as an example. Let's say you had a long week at work and you're invited out for dinner. And when someone asks you, hey, you know what, I'd like to know, would you like to go out to dinner this evening? And in your mind, it's like, you have an image of you sitting on the couch. You say, nah, I just want to stay home tonight and relax. And when you knew that, there's you on the couch. Maybe the image is you sitting in front of the TV. The room is dark around you with a bowl of popcorn in your comfy clothes or whatever else, snuggling with the one you want to snuggle with or snuggling on your own. And in that moment, that image pops in your mind. You're interacting. You've already just predicted the outcome. Later on that night, you get home and guess what? You're in your snuggly clothes. You got the popcorn, the TV's on, it's dark around you, and you're exactly where you projected yourself to be. That's exactly what's going on here. We're doing it anyway. We do it automatically. Now I'm telling you, do it consciously. And when you do it consciously, well, then you gain that, you deepen the realization within you of a truth that operates through you. And that is that you are interactive with this field of life. And because you are pulsating your personalized sense of collective being, your unique wave pattern of yourself, your personal sphere of possibility within the radiant possibility of anything that you can create being the uniqueness that you are, in every choice you make as you collapse it around you. Listen, the realization of this creator self thing is that you're meant to use this every day in your life. You're not meant just to project the law of attraction. I want to be in the beach 2 years down the road. And in the very last part of this show, we're going to do something. I'm going to challenge you to, we'll call it an 8-week creator projection in this way. And we'll talk about it in the next part, because in the next part of the show, after we finish the main segment, we're going to actually do what I call a positive projection of an outcome. But you have to work it. If you don't work it, ain't going to happen. The field around you will be dominant and your subconscious will be dominant, and you will radiate more subconsciously/unconsciously into the field of life, and it will only respond to you as an unbiased relation to whatever radiant of your mind you are putting into it is what it will come back to you, is what it will reflect back to you. Radiate a lower vibration, we'll call it an 89.9 vibrational state. You will get the 89.9 experience. Radiate the 101.9, you will get the 101.9. Now, it doesn't mean that the 89.9s aren't around you. And as you're traveling to that point of 89 to 109.9 or 101.9, they still know that you're kind of in this place of vacillation as you're in the moment of change. And when you're in the place of vacillation, you'll be drawn. These ones who are in the low vibration will come out and say, hey, where you going? Come on back. How you doing? Remember me? Remember this? Remember us? All that. You go, yeah, that's familiar. Okay. And you forget where you're going. And then your mind goes into, once again, the defensiveness of doubt to keep you safe from any kind of harm that is imagined within the neural beast of your brain that is a survival beast. And we talked about that in other shows as well. But as a creator, your thoughts, the images you place within your mind, and the feelings that move through you, these actually are affecting the life around you. And you're going to need to be more conscientious if you choose. You don't have to. But I would always suggest, if you do, then be responsive to it. Recognize that as this relationship you are developing with life is starting to manifest through you, one, through the knowing. Know it. Know the information. Again, don't just buy into what I'm saying. Look into what the science of all this says, and realize, just for a very, very logical kind of thought process, this kind of reductionist thinking in some way, if I take all these elements of me and break them down to the essential parts, well, this really is what is left. And what is generating this collection of wave patterns that I call the Jonathan? Well, there's some sort of idea that we call consciousness. Something is interacting to create coalescence. It just doesn't coalesce on its own. The emergence of my kind of conscious, my psyche, myself, there has to be something that is generating the experience of what I am at that very fundamental level. And again, at that fundamental level, I'm in relation to all of this. And I'm always in radiance. I'm always in a radiant relation through images, thoughts, and feelings. And I tell people, of course, if you want to see the reflecting field around you alter, you want to see it change, like I've said before, then you have to change. You have to understand the guidance system of how this works, even as a creator self. But there are things you can do to intentionally interact with the field and alter the unconscious of your neural patterns. Yes, it requires you to be more mindful. Yes, it's like working a muscle that has been dormant, and an ability that has become flaccid. Because unconscious is easy. Conscious, mindful, well, that's like picking up something that feels a little heavier. It requires an effort. An effort, depending on your relation to that, it can take energy from you. It really can. But as you do it, you find this experience that you start to see life through this realization. So collect the informative knowing. Realize that as you break down, you are you are in relation at the very base as an energetic self. And as an energetic self, you are emanating into the field of life around you. As you are this orbic being of light, you are in radiance of the holographic rays of your being. Within every possibility you can create, there isn't one you can't create within your unique sphere of possibility. And we're going to talk about how you take possibility, bring it into probability, and eventually into inevitability. And it comes with so much. I get it. I get that. I'm certainly not Pollyanna, that as I move along this way, as I seek to create, I'm going to activate something that is going to challenge within me. Just like I did when I did this program. I had to activate the fears. The fears came up. And I had to go through those fears. I had to be wiser than the feeling, because the feeling is the feeling, man. And when you feel the feeling, you can't will the feeling away. You have to work with it. And then through the contact, through the experience of taking that challenge, of working in the creator experience, of engaging myself in that way, as you engage yourself and you challenge yourself in the choice you make and the path you want to take. When you do that, be it a path in relationships, a path in your job, a path in your family, a path in your person, whatever path that you are going to choose, know that that choice will collapse around you, an energetic force field around you that is actually like another skin around you, in which you will radiate through, another filter. And through that choice, you can either bring about the worst of outcomes, and of course anything in between that. It's 180 degrees, so to speak, of possible negative, probable negative outcome. Or you can turn your attention to the positive outcome, to one that radiates positive possibility into probability as you give it attention. Attention is amazing. I witness it all the time. I witness it in the work I do when people go into the regression recall moments, how their attention from the outside world goes into the inner world, and how after 90 minutes in the chair, they all come out going, wow, it felt like 15 or 20 minutes in there. All about the attention. And so the first part of the attention realization is to know that you are the field that generates your existence. You are not separate from it. And you are interactive with it. And as you are radiating your being, and it is a responsive field. And if you're having any conflict in this moment, that conflict is there. As I said earlier in the program, dissonance is guidance to help you grow, to help you become more of what you're seeking to become. If not, then you wouldn't feel the dissonance. You wouldn't feel the alternative experience within you that creates a negativistic outcome, a negativistic effect within you. You wouldn't have that experience. But you have to be wiser than those moments. And you have to know that regardless if you choose to find some sort of rationale for maintaining a dissonance, a reason why you won't move forward and grow in whichever way, whatever you're doing, you are creating. You are letting the field of life around you know that this is the path that you are going to walk. And all it can do is respond to bring to you on your path the things in which are reflections of your radiance. I use the word radiance a lot. Right now I don't have a better word. I mean, I could say that we're all pulsating like heartbeats into the field. And we do. We draw energy in and we pulsate it out. Life is this, a wave pattern. I mean, in that sense, you could consider it as a pulsation. And through the pulsation of our being as energetic pulsating forms, but not forms of just energy, forms of consciousness, but not just a singular consciousness, kind of a plurality, a consciousness that is experiencing itself through a oneness, through a divine nature, a divine self, through a recognition of its creator experience. It's going on right now. We are radiating in this very moment, and our future is being created for us. And then what the cool thing is you can affect this brain of yours so that even though you're unconsciously radiating into the field, you're radiating positivistically into the field. And we're going to talk about that, how you can, again, this 8-week challenge. And it won't take long to do it. It's quite easy to do, and it won't take more. As I've introduced my 10-minute mindset, this is how we engage it. And I'm going to actually even speak of a little bit to the mindsets of higher achievers, perhaps, if I find myself remembering in the next segment about why I would want to bring that in, because it is in relation to how you would establish this mindset to create the outcome of what I call at this point with you, the positive projections of outcomes. As a creator being interactive with the field of creation in this very moment. I am, you are, we all are, individually and blended, to create a unified field of experience. I mentioned in one show, rather than people protesting angrily and shouting and screaming and giving messages of messages of the values they seek to see and expressed. I get that. I get that kind of that energy. But if we really want to be wise, I'd much rather see us all gathering around around the White House, holding hands, bringing love into our hearts, and radiating a love energy into that field of being. Why? Because the ones who we find that we want to bring further that positive expression back from them, we can't change them with our dissonance. It is fed. It's food for that kind of experience. And as a creator, I get something. By doing what I am doing, by creating that kind of protesting kind of energy from me when I'm expressing it through me, understood. But what's the feeling that what I'm generating into the energetic sphere of life? How am I helping? I'm gathering, I'm creating community, absolutely. And no doubt if many more and the percentages gather and radiate that kind of value engagement into the field of life, absolutely you expect that at some point the field of life will start to morph and be more representative of that value field. But again, it's not even so much about the value that you are radiating, but the radiance in which you are radiating the value through. Are you radiating in a way that's angry, that's in defiance, that it requires a justice, that requires an equating, that requires a takeover, that requires that other has to understand and do what and be what I want? If you're doing that, then your creator self is lost. So I don't know. I would kind of dig that, around the whole environment, everyone holding hands and just radiating, holding hands and connecting through that incredible heart, the recognition that we as creator beings can draw out from the others based on our radiance, the best of them or the worst of them. That is our role in this relation of creation, because we are doing it anyway. But in the next segment, we're going to talk about how you can do it for yourself, how you are creating for yourself, not so much in the unconscious, how you can do it, of course, intentionally, consciously. It's going to build a little bit off of what we just talked about the field, the orbic radiant being of light and all the rays of light around you. It's going to build on that a little bit, but we're going to go through an exercise. When I go through with my clients, now granted, I go much more deeply. I know my clients much more as far as the conversations we have, but for the clients who want to engage this realization, who get it, okay, Jonathan, I really can't fight with the logic of this. I can't fight that if I break these cells down to molecules and I keep on going. All right. I get the quantum nature of life seemingly does exist. I get that particles are partners of wave-particle packets. It's a wave-particle duality, and nothing comes into particle form unless the wave, nothing collapses the wave into a particle unless something is interactive. There's many thoughts, many conversations around that, and I give them all credence. But the particularity of me, my unique expression, if that's the case, and this is what's going on, I might as well use what the power that's already here. I might as well use what is already innate and going on in life. I just need to be consciously made aware of it. And once I identify, shoot, this is what's going on. This is really happening. I can ignore it. It doesn't make it go away. If we're breaking this down to its most essential experience, this is what's taking place. Jonathan, I can buy into that. Awesome. Then when we come back, we're going to go through an exercise that'll be a bit of a challenge for you. It'll be awesome challenge in a way that as far as to bring it into your life. And then I want you to get back to me. I want you to give me the feedback for all those who are listening to it, for all those who are going to listen when you see this recorded. I'd like to hear your feedback if you choose to take on the challenge of the creator self that you already are in this moment. It's already happening. That's kind of, to me, it's really cool. It's like, really? Awesome. That is the coolest thing. I'm excited. It excites me that I have such a power, that I can do such a thing. But we can all do it. Man, and when we do it in a radiance that is an elevated, enlightened projection into the field, yeah, welcome to Shangri-La. Welcome to Shambhala. Welcome to all those places of nirvana, whatever they want to talk about, where we are living in a way that is truly, truly Edenic. I could dig that. I wouldn't mind living in that garden. That's for sure. It is now about 8, almost coming up to 8:15. If you want to come back from this, if you want to come back after the 5 minutes, wonderful. We're going to go through the exercise and take it from there. For those of you who have to leave, you can always again come back and see the recording. I have a YouTube channel. Go to the Past Life Regression radio show in the search engine. You'll see the videos. You go to the YouTube channel. I have the first 3 shows. I'm going to get the next 3 shows in there with some titles, some description, so you know what's going on with those shows. Like that page or follow that page. So as new shows come in, you can be informed as well. If you're watching on Facebook, please feel free to like or follow. It would be awesome. I'm certainly doing this in a way because I want to share what I have. But if you're really, really digging it, if you say, you know what, I want people to know about this, follow me, share this page as well. It would be really, really cool. I'd really appreciate it. For those of you who have questions, or for those of you who seek counsel or sessions, you can contact me at 617-875-6686, or you can go to my website at jonathanyorks.com or mysoulmyself.com. Go to my contact page or even my home page, and you can contact me through there. If you want to schedule initial consultation, that's fantastic. It is complimentary. There is no charge to chat on the phone for the first time. If you have any questions about the work I do, questions about what we talk about on the program, that'd be wonderful. I'm more than happy to share the time with you when I have the time to share in those moments. For clients people who are seeking sessions, we do schedule times to talk. That would be wonderful. Feel free to contact me again at 617-875-6686. I'm Jonathan Yorks. This is the Past Life Regression radio show. We have been talking about the creator self and the science and spirituality of the law of attraction. In the next segment, we're going to be talking about how to bring this into your life as an everyday experience. See you in 5.
Have you always wanted to make your own podcast? Or had dreams of becoming the next social media influencer? Don't let office space and equipment be what gets between you and your dreams. New studio space is now available through the Go Network. The Go Network is a multimedia broadcast company that currently hosts live radio shows and podcasts. With microphones to fit all guests, the ability to video record interviews, a stage for band performances, and an editing suite to put your audio and video content to the next level. The Go Network will provide assistance with producing, editing, sponsorship outreach, marketing, and more. You can create the podcast or web series you want with the lower price tag. Visit our studio location in Norwood or our audio suite in Canton. For more information, call us at 857-445-0424 or email us at info@gonet.com. That's info@geauxnet.com. Aren't you tired of your plain white walls? Do you ever wonder why you feel uninspired at the office or feel like your home lacks character? It's always the same boring walls over and over again. Well, it's time for a change. Visit walldecor3d.com and order wall panels that will turn your walls into beautiful and extravagant looking accent walls. The 3D wall panels give an extra dimension and complement just about any room. Their current selection includes plant fiber wall paneling, MDF wood wall panels, mosaic real wood paneling, and thin slate stone veneer. Remember, that's walldecor3d.com. Order now and add some depth to your life.
When I'm feeling sluggish, I'm not looking for the jittery feeling of coffee. I'm reaching for Neurosonic, the only energy drink I trust to keep me going. Neurosonic is just one of the great drinks in the neurofunctioning beverages line. When I'm stressing an interview, Neuro Bliss keeps me cool, calm, and collected. And when it's time to call it a night, I don't want sleeping pills and all the crazy after effects you hear about. I want Neuro Sleep to help me drift off to dreamland. Neuro drinks are surprisingly low calorie and full of the healthiest and most efficacious vitamins and minerals. Artificial flavors and colors don't work for them, and neither should they for you, so they don't allow them in their drinks. To find a store near you that carries Neuro, go to drinkneuro.com or visit amazon.com to order a 12-pack. Neuro, drink with a purpose.
Has your computer seen better days? Is it always freezing and lagging? Are you constantly plagued with pop-ups and viruses? Are you not able to get any work done? You don't need a new computer. You need Phoenix Technology Support. With just one call to Phoenix Technology Support, you will never have to stress over the hassles of taking your computer to a repair shop again. Just leave your computer right where it is and let us come directly to you. Phoenix Technology Support has over 10 years of experience in the industry of customer support and IT solutions, and it's the best place for help with all of your home or business electronics. From gaming systems to tablet setups, smartphones to smart TVs, even business servers and emails. We will help set up or troubleshoot almost any technology in your home or office. So next time you think your technology is at the end of its life, have it rise from the ashes like a phoenix by calling Phoenix Technology Support at 617-658-3240. That's 617-658-3240, or go to www.phoenixtechboston.com.
Are you in need of stickers, be it for personal or business use? Then you need to go to stickeryou.com right now. That's stickeryou.com. Sticker U is passionate about providing you and your business with the highest quality custom stickers, labels, decals, and iron-ons. They can even make you temporary tattoos. If you want to stick out from the competition, then you need Sticker U, as Sticker U provides the best platform in the world to create custom products that make you stick.
So who are the real original housewives? Well, Sarah, Esther, Mary, and Ruth. Proclaim this and other Bible references on a shirt at onebodyonespirit.com. One Body, One Spirit is a Christian-themed clothing store for ladies and men that allows believers to express their faith, glorify God, and start conversations through something as simple as a t-shirt. Plus, a portion of every purchase is donated to charities. Their website is spirit.com to view their clothing selections. onebodyonespirit.com.
If you're just hearing about Monk Therapeutic Air for the first time, it's a recyclable diffuser that promotes mood change and life-enhancing effects through our custom blends of essential oils and the ancient practice of aromatherapy. Monk is the simplest aromatherapy device in history. You don't have to know anything about essential oils. We do all that for you. Simply pick the way you want to feel, open your Monk, and breathe in as your Monk diffuses an eclectic blend of essential oils and wild plant extracts. Monk is available in 7 different blends, all of which are organic, natural, and free of nicotine, tobacco, or artificial chemicals. Visit monq.com to learn more.
I'm Jonathan Yorks, and you're listening to the Past Life Regression radio show. Welcome back to the Past Life Regression radio show and Spirituality for Souls. We've been talking about the Creator Self this evening and our relation to life as creator beings through the field of consciousness and energy that we emit into life through our personalized energy fields into the quantum infinite field of life all around us. So, when I wrote the promo for this show, I said there were 4 things that we'd be touching on. One is, tonight is all about looking through the science and spirituality behind the law of attraction, what it is. Well, I expressed what it is. What it is this quantum field in which generates our existence. And you cannot be separate from that which generates your existence. It's just logic. It's a very rational thought, and there's no way you can counterbalance that thought with recognition that that's true. We can't be separate from anything that generates our existence. There is a bottom line to that. So what it is a quantum nature, this idea of law of attraction is the quantum experience. The science is that realization that life is energetic. The spirituality, that's the consciousness of life in itself. The intentions, the mind force that is moving through this field in generating experiences, drawing and manifesting circumstances within life itself to actually move along down a path to outcomes. So that is what it is. How it operates. How it operates through projection and reflection. Projection and reflection. Just like my guide projects itself into a moment in my mind, into whatever form it does. Not because it has to project itself as any form, because that's the form that I'm most receptive to or maybe most available for. Knowingly or unknowingly in my psyche. My guide knows my psyche really better than I do in many ways. So in that way, it is a projection. Everything is a projection, reflection field. And in that way, as you project your mind out into the field, the radiant mind, the frequency of your mind into the field, well, then it will reflect back to you that which you project into it. So how it works, projection, reflection. How we interact with it? Through the mediums of interaction. And while in human life, through the medium of the brain. And the brain communicates through images, thoughts, and feelings. That's how we interact with it. Images generates the kind of contextual environment from which we project. So let's just say you want to find yourself somewhere, and what you do is you generate the imaginal field in your mind. I'm going to talk about an exercise now. About doing that. And then we bring a thought in there. Thoughts are like the black and white grayscale. They kind of like give you this kind of hue, so to speak. And then we generate feeling. Feelings are accelerants. Feelings color thoughts. They take the grayscale into color scale, but depending on the feeling is depending on the color that we get. Feeling light and happy, you get pastels. Feeling angry and aggressive, you get dark and deeper hues. Feelings color thoughts. But in the relation of quantum world, they accelerate the quantum cohesion, the coalescence of probability waves of energy into a quantum, into a form that becomes so dense that it actually pops and becomes into manifest reality, becoming the circumstances that lead us down the path. So how do we interact? Through the organ of the brain, through images, thoughts, and feelings. That's how we project into the field. And now, what can we do to direct it to bring about the outcomes that we are seeking to create? And that is the key to it all. So beyond anything we spoke of, beyond anything like, Jonathan, dealing with neural self and all that, we go back to past episodes where I talked about how to work with the neural self, how to distinguish your mind from its mind, how to know who's driving the car, the fact that the neural self, that when you neurologically coalesce a thought within the brain, that there is actually upwards of a 7-second delay before you're aware of it. You're not the creator of the thought, you're the chooser of which direction that thought moves through. Be mindful and you will be a creator. Be unmindful and you will be a reactor. And that's all you could do in the unmindful states is react to the circumstances rather than create the circumstances that you are seeking to fulfill. High achievers do this on their own. High achievers do it innately. And I mentioned earlier I was going to talk about the mindsets of high achievers, and I wanted to know how these people in business and politics and sports, how do these people become such high achievers? How do they create such high achievement for themselves, such success for themselves? Not everyone is driven to be successful, but we are driven to be more than what we are. We are driven to be the authentic expression of who we are, no matter what that is. And there's no bigger, lesser, greater at all within it. But I'm somebody who's intrigued by achievement, intrigued by success. And I wondered, how are these people? What are the mindsets they operate through that are absolutely necessary? I'm going to go off on a little tangent in this moment because I offer this to my clients. When I offer this to my clients, it's because these mindsets are essential to understanding in your relation to being a creator on what we can do to actually make this stuff happen. So the first mindset that these high achievers go through is what I call the mindset of choice. In the mindset of choice, high achievers ask two questions. The first question they ask is, can I do it? And that question contains all the questions around the ability, capacity, intellect, finances, connection, aptitudes, background, karma, you name it. Can I do it? Or can I obtain the things that I need in order to do it? So they'll ask that first question. This is all happening unconsciously. This is all happening because they are wired, those lucky devils, so to speak. They are wired to be able to think in this way. The rest of us have to exercise it like a muscle. I know I do. If I don't naturally think this way, I have to actually orient my mind to think this way. Because the brain is neuroplastic and it will go where I direct it over time. So, can I do it? And if the high achiever answers, yes, I can do it, then they'll ask the second question, will I do it? Will I sacrifice lifestyle, time, energy, attitude, behavior? Will I direct attention to where it needs to go and not bring it to places that are distracting me from that outcome? When I say sacrifice, meaning if you are doing it authentically, there is no sacrifice. It is a complement. But if you're moving for something that's going to challenge you, that's going to make you grow, there's a quality of something that is knowing that it wants to come further forward from you. And so they'll ask, will I do it? And they will not answer that question right away. They will ponder, because they know one thing. When they answer yes to that question, there's only one outcome that is created for them, the successful outcome. They don't answer that question unless they know, not believe, not think they can create the outcome, that they know they can create that outcome. And they operate through that first mindset, the mindset of choice. Now, after the mindset of choice, they go through the second mindset, the mindset of control. And we hear this in every athlete, every high achiever in the world, and that is, I can only control what I can control. And that is my attitude, my energy, and my focus. That's what I can control. I can't control what's outside of me. I can't control other people's opinions, other people's reactions. I can't control who does or who does not listen to the show, who chooses to tune in or not, who chooses to either take the information and say, yeah, I'm going to bite into this apple, or who sits there and says, okay, the apple's in front of me, it's a nice looking apple, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to bite the apple. I can't control those sort of things. I can only control one thing, my attitude, my energy, and my focus. That's what I know I can control. My attitude and my thoughts and feelings. My energy, where I place my energy, and my focus, where I focus my energy and my attitude and my feelings. If I have an achievement I am seeking, I am not going to allow petty distractions to take me away from that achievement. They don't get my attention. Doesn't mean they don't deserve some sort of acknowledgement, but my emotional attention, My emotional attention is selective in that sense when I have an achievement I am seeking to fulfill. And I do not allow distractions of foolishness to get in the way. And things that seem to be obstacles or barriers, I don't see them as negativistic because they are only moments that I have to get through to get to the ultimate success. And that is the third mindset of high achievers, the mindset of outcomes. So like I said before, there's only one outcome that high achievers can see, and that is the successful outcome. They wouldn't make the choice otherwise. And when they're in the mindset of control, they get one thing. That outcome is only going to be a successful outcome. And all they're going to do is take the attitude, the focus, and the energy and bring it towards that. Those are the three mindsets I find for high achievers, that these kind of core mindsets they operate through. And I found them to be very helpful for me when I'm making a choice, when I understand my control situation around me and within me, where I bring my attitude, my energy, my focus. It is essential. Man, I got to be mindful of this stuff. Yeah, I'm lifting a weight every time I do it, but I get stronger every time I lift the weight. So in that way, and then again, the last realization, once I've made a choice, outcome is inevitable. Outcome's going to happen. I don't know what outcome's going to be made, but outcome's going to happen. And the kind of outcome has to do with my attention. And when I talk about taking your personal sphere of possibility into probability, into inevitability, I give this example. I tell clients, imagine you're in a spaceship and you're out there and you're puttering through space in your spaceship. And out there are black holes out there, but you're not really directed towards one. So it's only possible that you can actually get to a black hole or meet a black hole in space. But now you turn your spaceship towards a black hole. In that moment, you have now moved from possibility into probability. You have made a choice because you have established a direction in which you are going to. And as you get closer to that black hole, the probability of you going into that black hole increases. But in front of that black hole, there's a barrier, the event horizon, a gravitational field that as long as you don't cross it, you remain in probability. But once you cross that event horizon, you go from probability right into the black hole. You get sucked right in. Gravity brings you right into it. You do not escape from probability into inevitability. And that's how this works as we move through times to the outcomes we are seeking to create. And I've mentioned this thing called the 10-minute mindset program before. How you can restructure your neural self, create new neural conditions within your brain, because every day and every moment you're either strengthening, weakening, or creating new neural connections. How you can consciously do it in 10 minutes a day. Now, what I didn't go further forward into that is that as you are doing that, you can do it and also interact with the quantum field around you. You can have, two birds with, in a bush, whatever it is. I don't want to say two birds killed with one stone. That's not cool. How about two birds loved with one touch? Two effects of one thought, of one activity within you. So we're going to talk about this right now. How you can interact with the quantum self in the quantum field of life. How you interact with the neural self in the same moment. And I'll get clear about that in a moment as well. So we're going to talk about how you can do this. And the first step we take is going into a place in this moment, if you would, close your eyes. You don't need to watch Facebook Live if you're watching in this moment. Sit back and take a breath in. If not, just sit back and just start to imagine as you're breathing through your body, feeling the energies of your body, feeling the flow of these energies of your body. So if I've started too soon, please get yourself in a comfortable place. Get yourself situated. We're going to do an exercise right now. For those who have started, continue to breathe through your body. For those who haven't, begin to breathe through your body. Follow your breath and just let your body breathe all on its own. Just allow it to breathe in and breathe out and follow it as it does. And notice there's nothing you need to do to create this breath. Oh, you can consciously, if you want, to take a breath in. But you don't need to, because your body breathes all on its own. And as your body is breathing all on its own, as you're starting to kind of settle in a little bit, I want you now to reimagine yourself again as an orbic field of light, a radiant orb of light, circular or oval, elongated, whichever way you imagine in your mind the light. Just allow yourself to be in that kind of mind state. And as you are in that kind of thought, that kind of feeling, and even creating imagery in your mind, imagine light all around your body, from head to toe, a cocoon of light that is not created coming to you, but is actually radiating out from you. You heard of the aura. This is your energetic field emanating from you. And now take that emanating field, and imagine rays of it extending off of this orbic field of your light. All around you, from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet, from the back to the front, from side to side, all around you, rays of light. Your infinite field of possibility. Everything you can create, being the uniqueness that you are. And as you're having that moment, feeling this radiance, I want you to bring up an outcome in your mind that you're seeking to create. But not an outcome for years down the road. I want you to think of an outcome within months down the road. 2, 3 months down the road. Something that's more nearer and dearer to you. It could be anything. It could be having a better relationship with someone. It could be seeking that raise. It could be making that change in a new apartment, in a new job. Any change, any outcome that you want to create. I want you to bring it into your mind. It's actually one of those parts of you, one of those rays of your being holographically projected off of you. And I want you to turn your attention, as we've been working with this, and I want you to turn your attention to that positive projection of that outcome. An outcome that you want to create. And the positive outcome of that. The successful ending to that outcome. And I want you to touch that and collapse that outcome, that choice. Right now, I am going to, this is what I want. This is it. This is an outcome that I really seek to create. And I want you now, in that experience, to emphasize it in your mind, that outcome. I want you to go holographic on it. I want you to feel the space around you. I want you to feel the air around you. I want you to have the imagery of where you are in that moment, of that outcome that you are seeking to experience within the next 2 to 3 thereabouts months. Get all the visuals going. See the colors. Get a feel of the air around you, the sounds around you. Create the holographic whole of that moment. If you want to go deeper, create the feeling of the clothes that you're wearing. Even put the clothes on you in this moment if you want. Whatever it is, in that outcome that you want to see for yourself. Have it now vivid in your mind. Be in it. Focus your attention on this outcome that you are creating, a positive projection of an outcome that you are creating in your mind, of an outcome that you are seeking, well, to create. When you have that in your mind, I want you to bring a thought and introduce this thought into the mind. And the thought is this: everything that happened had to happen because I am here right now. Everything that happened had to happen because I am here right now. And the only way I can get to this outcome is to realize that everything that has happened had to happen. Everything that was an obstacle, everything that was a challenge, everything that felt like a conflict, and everything that felt like a support, everything that felt like guidance, even the emphasis of having to be mindful of how I'm projecting into the field of life as a creator being, For I know in this moment I am creating my future through this projection. Because the quantum nature of life can only respond to me. It is not a biased field. It is solely a responsive field. No pun intended when I say solely. It may be so. And I'll feel the feeling. Notice if you have a warm, positive feeling in the chest or a warm feeling all throughout the body. That you are in this outcome that you created. If you find that you can't find one from 2 to 3 months, you've created one from further down the line, that's fine. You can create as many outcomes through any vision you want as a creator being. But create this one, this positive projection of an outcome that you want to create in your life. Create the holographic field within the mind. Introduce the thought. And then color it. Accelerate it with the feeling. So the quantum field of life can be more responsive. As it congeals and brings probability waves of energy in a more accelerated state to each other because of the radiance of the thoughts in which you bring into it. For energy goes where energy flows, where your thoughts go. You've heard it before. I wasn't the creator of the statement. It's a good statement. Now, if you feel a little nut in the belly, a little tightness in the upper part of your abdomen, it doesn't mean you can't create that outcome. It just means you got something to work through. Something within the within the mind field that must be known to you. And in that negative feeling, notice the feeling, open it up, and unpackage every negative thought within there. Because usually it's around the self something of negation. And as you do, or even though if you project it to others, it's okay because the self is always woven into otherness, of course. Just note it. Realizing something you need to work through. Now, that is one way we are interacting consciously, that you are interacting consciously with the quantum field of life as a creator. All you have to do is think of a positive projection of an outcome. And then all you have to do is create the holographic field within the mind of sensorium. Then all you have to do is bring the thought. And I introduced the one thought. Everything that happened had to happen. Because I am here right now in this moment. When I say right now, the quantum field doesn't know time. It's a non-temporal field. It just starts responding instantaneously to that. And then as I express the feeling within me, two things are occurring. One, my brain had to generate the neural experience, the biochemical experience to induce positive feeling. So what I'm doing is I'm actually inducing a positive feeling in the brain. And I'm not only doing that and working with myself neuroplastically, so to speak, working with my own neural experience that does strengthen, weaken, and create itself every day of every moment, depending on what's moving through the medium of this brain. So I'm going to consciously create with it. And I'm also interacting with the quantum field around me. It is a one action serves two masters in that sense. Your creator self, or two aspects of yourself. How's that? And when you are a master of these realizations, well then, now you walk with a knowingness in relation to life around you. So have any positive projection you want. Create that inner sensorium. Generate that feeling. And then work it. And there are different ways we work it. One is what I called, again, the 10-minute mindset. The part that in 2 minutes in the morning, what you do is you bring this holographic projection to your mind before you activate the conscious mind into what do I have to do next. I don't care if it's even in the shower. I do mine in bed. But if it's in the shower, that's fine. If it's brushing your teeth, it doesn't matter. Whatever activity you're doing, as long as that can be a presence within you without anything else going on around you and within you in the same moment. You want to give it full emphasis. So you sit there and you start to bring into this in your mind this holographic projection of this outcome that you seek to create. The positive projection of outcome. Again, projection, reflection. And as you do that in your orbic being, you collapse that moment around you, and you throw your attention to the positive potential of it, then what you've done is you've set up 180 degrees of positive outcome. And as you march and move through time, working this projection through time, you get closer and closer to that event horizon where you take the probability of positive ending and you grow to the moment, and you move to the moment, and you cross that event horizon, and you move into inevitability of that moment. And it's okay if you have that defensive moment where the negativistic thought comes to your mind. That's fine. It's wired in there. It takes time to rechannel this wiring. All you have to do is redirect it. Don't condemn it. Acknowledge it. Like I've said, this is a guidance system, this negativistic neural beast that we have that helps us survive in these human life forms. As a soul, as a creator, I get it. It's my guidance system. And if I know how to read the guidance system, man, I'm going to get to my destination. Absolutely. And this simple means of doing it is so powerful because you are doing it in every moment of your day. Hey, you want to get together this evening? Nah, I'm going to go home and just chill. That moment, you threw an image into the field that you are going to actually find yourself in later on that evening. Projection, reflection, through time. But this is a different kind of journey in that way because you're doing it 24/7. You can do it consciously. And as you do it consciously, you do it 2 minutes in the morning, the 2-minute me set in the morning, and then the 2-minute me set before I fall asleep at night. What am I me setting? I'm setting the brain, I'm setting the psyche, I'm setting the radiance, I'm setting my consciousness into a certain state of experience that I want to have within me. And I'm interacting with the field around me as a creator to bring about the outcome of what I want to feel that I'm now projecting within me. And I have to move through time. And yes, I have to be mindful. Yes, I have to know that I can only control what I can control. I get I made a choice. And in that moment of making choice, it's inevitable. Outcome is going to happen. No matter what you want to say, outcome is within the choice. But as you choose, you ripple into the field, the frequency in relation to that choice. And where you turn your attention is what you draw to you. And that's the realization of a creator nature. That's the realization of your creator self. You literally are. You've created your life up to this point. And if you don't like the way it looks, if you don't like something within it that doesn't feel right, that feels dissonant and conflictual within you, then take it as the guidance and use it and project further forward into outcomes that you seek to create. Listen, if we're doing with others in relationship, we can only control what we can control ourselves. I can't control them, but if I project positively into that relationship, if I project love to them, not because I want them to maneuver in such way, it all has to be authentic. You know that. The positive projection of your outcome, it comes with certain considerations. It has to be genuine to who you are and authentic to how you want to be in the world. You can't become something that isn't authentic to who you are and that you cannot genuinely express in life. This isn't a fake it till it finally happens. No, this is about honest and real. So in that way, you are required to be authentic. And that way you can only create within the personal sphere of your possibility. I would love to be an athlete of consideration and all that sort of thing, but you know what? Within my personal sphere of possibility, it wasn't within the nature of the body and the mind and the brain and everything else that was in the journey of being Jonathan. I can try to create a projection out there. And perhaps I create something and I actually form an actual possibility within me that really wasn't a part of it. It was lying, within the field of that dormant, in that field of my experience is a dormant ray that is not extended out from me because it wasn't within the field of that possibility based on my uniqueness in that moment. But I can bring it out from me, absolutely. But it isn't natural to my expression. So you must be natural. It must be organic. Any projection you have. I had a client of mine. He wanted to leave his work. I asked him, tell me, what's it look like when you leave your work? As you're projecting the last day out there, what does it look like the very last day? And he's telling me, I'm at my computer, and not last day, my apology. I was like, what does it look like when you that you create this outcome? And he's creating the outcome by seeing himself writing a letter of resignation. I said, what's the feeling? I feel really good. I'm writing this letter. I'm going to be leaving. And I said, what happens after that? He said, well, I still have a few more weeks before I leave. I said, so that isn't the end. That's not the outcome. That's not the finality of the moment. So then I asked him, in which I was confusing you before, tell me about the very last day, the very last moments. What are you doing? He says, well, I'm packing up. I'm leaving earlier than I have to because I don't have to stay all day. I'm saying goodbye to people, and I feel the warm smiles as I walk by my boss's office because he's on the way out. I knock and say thank you. He smiles and says thank you and good luck and gives me all the warm, affirming compliments, and then I leave. And I ask him, what's the feeling you have when you walk out in that moment? He says, I feel wonderful. He says, I feel free. I said, that is the positive projection of that outcome. When it comes to the outcome, think of the final moment, not an action that's going to take you to the final moment, the actual outcome. Now, there are global outcomes, global projections, big ones, future time that I want to see in my life. And then I have marker moments that I'll see along the way, marker projections that let me know that I'm getting there. And along the way, I'll have my daily projections, short-term projections, what I want to see happening every day for myself, what I want to see happening within the month, within the year of my being. Each one valid. I don't have to engage every single one of them when I do my positive projection. 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening, and then find yourself that reminder object. I talked about that. I talked about my reminder rock, my amethyst, my blue amethyst that was given to me by my mentor. That when I touch it or think about it, which I'm doing right now, a bubble pops in my mind, my 10-second reset, and I feel the warm feeling of my spiritual presence in nature and life as Jonathan. That's how I conditioned this brain and this being of me to respond that way when I think of this reminder of myself. It helps me ground into my presence and brings up the best of my experience for myself. It's not a projection of an outcome, but I do use it to project positive outcomes. But as I mentioned before, even beyond that, beyond anything else, know that it is your radiance that is going to matter the most in any outcome you seek to project out there. That's what is going to be the most, that's what makes the greatest impression. That's what draws to you the outcomes you're seeking to create. So if you're looking for that job, looking for that raise, looking for that relationship, looking for that change, and you can create the radiant outcome of that change, you can't do it as a defiance. You can't do it with an opposition. You can't do it with a lower vibrational expression of that moment of projection. No. Do it from the highest experience of your being. Do it from the most enlightened aspects of your nature. Do it knowing that in this way all are served, all are benefited, even if it causes disturbance and in whatever superficial way it may, or even a deeper way existentially for another as I seek to change relationship or anything else in that regard where another one is affected, that I know one thing, I'm being authentic, I'm being genuine, I'm being in the moment of my knowing, and I'm moving into the moment of my creator reality. And I'm projecting myself to an experience that I want to see as that complement, that reflection, that demonstrates back to me the nature of my experience of what I want to see within and feel within myself. So the idea of your creator self, it is an ongoing force. It happens through projection, reflection. It goes through the medium of the brain and images, thoughts, and feelings, and you can control it. Once you have your positive projection of outcome, then work it. 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening, and 10-second resets throughout the day. And when you do these 10-second resets, you do these little sprinkling in your mind, and you alter the field of your psyche. Little bubbles pop in your mind and give you that sense of feeling, that sense of experience you want to feel within that projection itself. Oh, there's always, of course, always much more that goes into it. But this show is really meant to inspire within you, to ignite within you this realization. Man, this is going on right now. You are doing it in this very moment. And this giant experience that we are in is a feedback system, a guidance system, a reflecting field to help us see ourselves. Your thoughts, your feelings, same thing. Same thing. Feedback to the system of the self to guide you as you are in the process of creating the life and the one that you are. Man, we're here to create the grandest experience, the grandest version of the one we are being in every life, within every blueprint of every life. It is not two-dimensional. Like I've said, your blueprint is three-dimensional. And you are a radiant person, a radiant entity, rather, within that blueprint. And there's a future experience, so to speak, of a possibility that you are radiating in this very moment based on your uniqueness as you are in this very moment. Your conditions as well, of course. Your conflicts as well. But your enlightenments as well. And everything else that is a complement to whatever it is that may be dissonant. But if you're operating primarily in a dissonant experience, and a dissonant mind, dissonant feelings, well then, know these feelings are guidance. Don't be ignorant. Be a creator. Be enlightened. Be an enlightened being in life. No, I have a statement I'd like to share with people, and that is, if you want to live an enlightened life, then think enlightened thoughts. Know what's going on, how the system is operating in this moment. It always has. It always will. We aren't separate. We are generated by it. Yet there is a medium of interaction we have within it. And in the human experience, and this is what I'm speaking of, the human experience in this moment, when I talk about the creator self in this way within our human experience, as an aspect of the other fields or dimensions of the self that you are, the oneness of self, the divineness of self, and the neurological experience of self that create the conditions that challenge you to make choice. So if there is a path within the radiant field of your holographic projections that you seek to take, choose that path. And when you do, when you feel the negative, perhaps the doubt, the diminishment or minimization, know one thing, that you can redirect that. Know one thing, those are your conditions. And if your mind can create those thoughts, then the equal opposite must be true. And I say opposite because it's a spectrum. You can't have a negative without a positive. And in that way, if your mind tends towards the negative, redirect it back to that positive. Understand that if you have it within you to create a path, to create an outcome, then you can make that outcome happen. And then not only that, imagine the white, light, bright outcome. Why go for just middle or to moderate? Why go for just almost there? No. Create that outcome. Focus on the white light ending. And then move through time. And there are other things you can do. Not just in the 10-minute mindset. In your home, we are sensorial beings, like I said. Your eyes can only take in so much focal attention, but the receiving focal impressions, information on the focal field. Put in your house the sensorial experience around you that's going to reinforce the path and the journey you are on. When you do that, you enhance the nature of this relationship that you have as a creator to life around you. I see we're coming up to the end of our show. Of course, there's so much more. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as far as what I've offered today in your creator self. If you have questions, because didn't make sense in the moment or something, please send me a text, send me an email. My number is 617-875-6686. If you want to schedule a time to talk, absolutely. It's totally complimentary. I love I'm just more than happy to speak about this stuff with you. If you're seeking sessions, I'm even happier to speak with you about it. Of course, it's a worthwhile journey in the work I do as a past life regression and life between lives regression therapist and spiritual counselor. And as I help my clients reorient their minds, recalibrate, reposition their minds to see life basically with the evidence going on around it. I'm not making this stuff up. This is what's taking place around us. And when we are logical and rational in our view of it, then we know how it operates and what we can do with it. So, if you would like, you can see this show again, recorded right here on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Jonathan Yorks, MALMFT, You can go to my YouTube channel that I'm now downloading called The Past Life Regression Radio Show. Type that in the search engine. You'll come up to the first 3 episodes. I'll be getting the other episodes in there. Haven't gotten to the podcast stuff yet. I will. So you can listen to it as well if you just choose to want to listen to it, which is this is why it's a radio show. If you want to contact me, please do. We'll be here next week. Next week's show, because of the holidays, spiritual contracts. Our contracts, our agreements with the members of our families and who we are going to engage with around the holiday table and over holiday times. Next week's show, spiritual contracts, our agreements with the souls in which we incarnate with in our families and the field around us. I look forward to having that, talking about that topic. Until then, have a wonderful, wonderful week. This is Jonathan York's The Past Life Regression Radio Show. Be wonderfully well. Thanks for tuning in.